Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back for round 17 of the F1 2021 Williams Road to Glory. Yesterday we head to the Mexican Grand Prix. Of course, again, I say this a lot during the Williams Road to Glory and I'm sorry, you know, again we've been a bit busy, Forza Horizon 5 and I haven't been feeling 100%. But we're back today here ready to continue on this series. Just 4 races to go of Season 1. It's actually looking like the title's heating up between myself and Yuki Tsunoda at the top. Hamilton's looking pretty safe at this stage of the game there. He's got a 53-point lead over his teammate Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, so with 4 races to go. As long as he outscores him by... well, as long as he just equals him over the next 2 weekends, he'll leave Brazil as world champion here. I mean, if he won the race with fastest lap and Bottas didn't score, he could mathematically become champion this weekend as well. I'm not sure that's going to happen. We're 1 point ahead of Yuki Tsunoda at this late stage of the campaign, which looks pretty safe in P8 unless Alfa Romeo can pull out an absolute worldie in the final couple of rounds of the year. But of course, trying to save up some R&D points now to protect the aerodynamics and the chassis. Yeah, performance is not looking great. Looks like AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin and Alpine have all brought a few more upgrades in recent weekends. But Mexico should be a track that suits the car's characteristics nonetheless. So yeah, I think we just need to dive into this weekend, of course. We'll do all the upgrade bits and pieces behind the scenes. But yeah, let's dive into qualifying then here for the Mexican Grand Prix. Well, here we are then, qualifying day at the Mexican Grand Prix, and although it doesn't look like it at the moment, rain is meant to roll into the circuit by the end of qualifying, so we're not going to worry too much about trying to get our laps in nice and early on in the session. Balance doesn't feel too bad around this circuit from the laps we did in free practice. Of course, top end speed pretty good in this Williams as well, but yeah, we'll wait and see as to what we can do this weekend as we head through the first couple of corners. Obviously really got to try and attack the curves through there, through turn 2 and turn 3, just like the real life drivers tend to more and more nowadays. But pretty good run through the first sector there on this opening lap. We got an Aston Martin not too far behind. But yeah, just really trying to just sort of chuck it in. It does seem to be sticking pretty well so far. Charles Leclerc sets the benchmark of a 14.7. We'll see just how many seconds off that we end up. It's heading down in towards the stadium section, of course, tightest part of the lap. It's really where the car starts to struggle. Definitely got to try and sort of remember to brake 10-15 metres early in a lot of places, obviously, because I'm just so used to what is effectively now pretty much a maxed out My Team car, and this Williams is far from that. It's at the final corner there, a 15.3. That's actually a lot better than I thought it would be. 6/10 off Ferrari. That was pretty good. Right, about to start our second lap then, and yeah, that first time leaves us P15 provisionally at the moment, ahead of Russell and Giovinazzi. But yeah, I mean, the field seems pretty spread. Oh, sorry, not particularly spread even, I should say. Verstappen's only on a 13.9, and he's currently fastest there, so 1.4 off, 15 places back. It's certainly not too shabby early on in the session. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people improve, but fingers crossed we'll be one of them. So we head back through turn 1 and turn 2. Again, try to attack those curbs there. Little bit of a hesitation as we try to get on the throttle for the second straightaway, and that's going to cost us all the way down here. Practically quarter of a second down when we finally do arrive at Sector 2 there, and already, yeah, just getting a little bit out of shape trying to chase times. And I think this lap's basically a write-off already. It's at the final corner. I definitely think we can get close to a sub-15 here. There's definitely a lot of time to find around the lap. Yeah, I reckon we could probably get towards Ocon's time, but we're only going to get one more shot of this. We need to make it count. Well, it looks like the rain has actually stayed away then at the end of qualifying there, so nice to see a little bit of inaccuracy in the weather predictions. But as we head out the final corner, we need to make this last lap count. That's not been the best run out the final turn. Longest run to the line. Make sure we try and give ourselves the best run as we head down towards turn 1 here. But yeah, like I said, this one has got to be completely hooked up there. Like I said, reckon we can get close to the time that Ocon did. Giovinazzi has gone faster than us at the moment. We'll send it back in towards turn 1 then. Nicely chucked through. Again, right that curb in through turn 2 and turn 3. That was rather aggressive that time round. But we find the time, and if the FIA are letting us get away with it, we will certainly have it there. A 10th up as we head into Sector 2. Definitely going to just ride on board with this lap, of course, unless we make a mistake. All struggling a bit there with understeer. through the double double right-hander. Just dropping a little bit of time there, but we're still pretty much where we were. Made a bit of a mistake through here on our first run as we leave it in 6th gear, all back in, tried to snap as we went back over the curbing. As we head through the next couple of corners, though, keeping it really nice and tidy there, and a 10th up as we head down in towards the final sector of the lap. This is where the last ones kind of came undone for us. Just making sure we get it slowed down nice and tidily through the hairpins. Oh, back end again. Tries it through the final couple of corners, though, taking a lot of curve there, getting all over the exit curve as well. We're going to cost ourselves a bit of run. It is going to be an improvement, though. But it is only P16 at the end of qualifying, but we were really wrestling that car round towards the end of the lap there. That one felt ragged, but a really good laugh. Well, there we go then. Valtteri Bottas on pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix there, but 3 cars from 3 different teams there inside the top 3. 4 cars separated by less than a 10th at the end of the session. Ferrari's tied further back there on a 1:14.1, and then further down the order you can see we ended up going slower than our teammate George Russell there. We did both improve though over Antonio Giovinazzi, so looks like the battle between us and Alfa Romeo could be pretty exciting this weekend there. But yeah, don't really feel, I mean, we could have possibly got Stroll, but that was going to be about it at the end of the session there. But only 7/100ths off George Russell as well. We could be in a good fight this weekend. A long run down towards turn 1. Let's see what's possible here then in the Mexican Grand Prix.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from 3rd on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour. And overtaking too, into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Perez, Sebastian Vettel and Verstappen, Norris, Stroll, Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty, and George Russell, Ricciardo, Mr. Monaco, Antonio Giovinazzi and Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, Nikita Mazepin and Pierre Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Well, penalties galore then here at the start of the Mexican Grand Prix. Lots of different cars much further down the order, but it does mean our teammate George Russell is up inside the top 10 there, and we start 12th for this one. So yeah, certainly now I've got a bit of a better chance here. I've opted for a 2-stop strategy, soft, medium to soft. The game thought the 1-stop was possible, hards to mediums, but I don't really feel like the hard tyres are worthwhile around this circuit. But yeah, fingers crossed, as long as we can get a good run down in towards turn 1 here, we might be able to try and nestle ourselves up inside the points and then spend the rest of the day hanging on for dear life here. But waiting on those 5 red lights for the Mexican Grand Prix. It's 5 lights and it's lights out and away we go there. And George Russell, he responded perfectly to that. We watched JV nail the start in my team earlier on this week, but that was a brilliant start from George Russell there. Straight past Hamilton down in towards turn 1 there. We're going to sit just on the inside. Hopefully keep ourselves out of trouble. Got to remember, of course, simulation damage in this series. Round the outside, the Ricciardo and Giovinazzi through turn 2, and we will have that one, thank you very much. Try and go full send on the exit of the corner there, and I think that took them both by surprise, as we do make up one place off the start in this Grand Prix. Look at that up the inside of Hamilton, defending world champion, of course, only a seven-time world champion in this hypothetical universe there, is round the outside of Russell. How have we found the room there on our teammate as we're battling our teammate for points here at the start of the Mexican Grand Prix? But that's turned out to be a really good start here in Mexico City, 9th and 10th for the team. Russell's held on to track position there. We've gone up 3 places off the start of the Mexican Grand Prix there. So yeah, that was the absolutely perfect start that we needed here in Mexico there. We've got Sergio Perez, homeboy, going side by side with his teammate Max Verstappen in through the stadium section. Are we going to be able to capitalise on this? Look at that Stroll running mighty slow. Oh, we almost ran to the side of the Aston Martin there, but somehow we make the move work up the inside. Perez into the pits as well. So at the end of that one there, we got Vettel into the pits. So we've gone 12th to 6th on that one. George Russell 10th to 7th there. That has been the dream start for Williams in this Grand Prix, as already our teammate looks to be under pressure from Sir Lancelot just behind him. But yeah, what a start to the Mexican Grand Prix that's been there. A lot of carnage for other cars, but somehow we've hung on. We've kept it clean. I don't think there was any contact with anyone on the opening lap, and we're up into P6. It's only backwards from here, though. End of lap 3, Sir Lancelot already applying the pressure to us, and I don't think there's really going to be much we can do to defend this one. I think we might just have to watch the Canadian fly past us here. We're trying to save battery as we just use so much on that opening lap here, but maybe if we can just stick in the DRS of laps, then that could really help us out over the next few laps. You know, if we can make it to the first round of stops. Still right near him. Of course, we are still running an aggressive tyre strategy here today, but we discovered a Cota last time. Although we have only got the 9th best car in Formula 1 at the moment, we have generally got enough to hang on with a lot of the teams not too far in front of us here. Plus, I just think George and I are both getting everything out of the car, and as well as that, it's a pretty well-rounded little package at the moment. I didn't want to jinx myself too soon in this Grand Prix, but yeah, since we let Stroll through, we've actually been able to stick nicely behind him over these last few laps. I'm just trying to consciously keep George inside the DRS as well, so he's got something to defend himself from Daniel Ricciardo. But yeah, it really is this final sector we're struggling to match the guys behind us. Leclerc's into the pits as well. That's rather early from the Ferrari, so we are going to re-inherit 6th place then in this Grand Prix. But yeah, now Russell might be under a lot more pressure as he's dropped out the DRS. Ricciardo, yeah, immediately flies past our teammate. And Carlos Sainz now is really struggling on his rubber as well, so Ferrari might have good pace, but definitely don't have particularly good tyre wear. No, Carlos Sainz stays out another lap then. So yeah, not too sure what's going on there for the Spaniard.
The pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
Really dropping back towards Sir Lancelot and myself's clutches, but we got Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton now not far behind us as George Russell here is just falling back towards where you'd expect him to be in this Grand Prix, but we're just trying to hang on at the moment, and really we need to try and get these tyres 10-11 laps if we want to make the soft medium soft strategy work. Sainz though, yeah, it's still really struggling. Like I said, not sure what's going on there. Right, at the final corner then, still neither of the guys in front of us into the pit lane, despite the fact, yes, Sainz is really coming under a lot of pressure.
We're leading our teammate by 2.7 seconds.
Shame to see George is dropping back there, but Sainz now is going to lose the place to Lance Stroll as we head back down towards turn 1. And are we going to be able to get a run out of this first complex to potentially trying to look past the Ferrari as well there? Stroll a little bit all over the road. So I think Ricciardo thought about trying to have a send, really try and roll on the power early at turn 3 though, as we head down the next straightaway here and to the outside of Carlos Sainz. Pretty even on the brakes. We'll try and hook it up and get the inside for the next corner. Try and just hang him out to dry. There we go. Up now into P5 of the GP. We are really getting everything out of this car early on. Need to make sure, however, we stick with the Canadian. Right, going to come into the pits then at the end of lap 10 here, but I think Valtteri Bottas has kind of just decided to check out of this one at the front of the field. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. I don't say that's Lewis Hamilton. I think the other Mercedes is falling off to the wayside here, so a heartbreak for Lewis Hamilton in the Mexican Grand Prix there. We were just talking about his teammate trying to keep himself in title contention, and that throws the title wide open. Hamilton out of the Mexican Grand Prix there with a catastrophic engine failure, so Bottas now has got a big chance to launch himself back in this battle here. We're trying to get a new set of tyres on the car.
Exit now.
I was kind of hoping we would have got a safety car then, because that could have really come in clutch for us. But we are going to re-emerge just behind Charles Leclerc.
One stop left in our strategy.
Still ahead of Gasly, as yeah, Sykes has definitely got damage there somewhere in this race. But now we've got to try and keep our head down over the next couple of laps. Well, that's one really fast car that was behind us, and now won't be applying any pressure anymore, as these mediums are going to take a bit of work to heat up.
The officials are deploying the safety car due to multiple cars being stopped on track. Mind your delta.
Bottas has stopped as well, I've just noticed on the minimap. What's happened to Valtteri? So Bottas then has looped it round by himself with a huge lead in this race. What on earth has the Mercedes done? Why? What's he doing? Valtteri Bottas has looped it round, created a safety car here, so we've been completely screwed by this, because everyone else now is going to get a free pit stop. What was that from Valtteri, and how on earth have we jinxed it? We've got to really try and make sure we stay as close to the delta here, because we are about to lose a whole host of positions in this Grand Prix as we head out of the final turn.
George is coming in for his stop.
How far back are we going to be? We might not have lost too many places from this, as there we go, catch the safety car. We've come out behind Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton there. Oh no, that's Bottas, of course, who's still way at the order. So we've got a McLaren in the lead. We're still in P7 here. Has Lando Norris... I don't think Lando Norris is pit, so I don't think we've lost out too much, but we have now got a few cars around us on soft tyres trying to go for an alternate strat. Car in then at the end of lap 13, just over 1/3 distance in this Grand Prix, and Lando Norris leads the way. Oh, come on. Come on. What's going on with this car? Got to get some heat into the rubber. Luckily, Lando Norris hasn't gone there, otherwise we would have been completely screwed. At the final corner, being really tentative on the throttle. And it is going to be green flag racing once again there, so that could have been a whole lot worse of a restart than it ended up being. But really not sure what we should do over these next couple of laps. There is Bottas straight up the inside of Lando Norris in towards turn 1 there. Is he going to be able to do anything? Looks to be side by side between the top two. Who's going to come out on top in that situation? Looks like Bottas has immediately reclaimed the lead of this Grand Prix there, but we're immediately struggling to try and match the cars in front of us. Of course, a lot of the slower runners in that top 6 on the soft compound, most notably Daniel Ricciardo and Lance Stroll as well. Norris is just getting barged around at the moment. Verstappen now sneaks up into P2 there, so a nightmare restart for Lando Norris in this Grand Prix, who's immediately going to go from 1st to 3rd. But yeah, we're struggling on this rubber early on, just try and build up some temperature. But we need to try and stick within 1 second for the DRS. Or we let George Russell through and hope he can hang on. Ricciardo and Leclerc going side by side in towards turn 1. Is Ricciardo going to do one of his famous honey badger sends? No, Leclerc's going to do it to him instead. So they kind of trip over each other through turn 1 and turn 2. That allows us to get a whole lot closer once more, but not close enough to capitalise. As Russell and Ocon going side by side behind us. We need George to try and hang on in there and stay within the 1 second of me.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
And hearing that message, we've just gone over 1 second behind Daniel Ricciardo there. But again, him and Leclerc are going to go side by side in towards turn 1, so fingers crossed this can bring us a lot closer again. And just like we saw last lap, they kind of trip over each other through turn 1 and turn 2. We've got to try and stick close this time, as I think Ocon's had to pit for damage. 3 more cars in the pit lane at the end of lap 15 there, so clearly there's still a lot of rough racing going on further back. But we're just trying to keep our nose clean and see where we work ourselves up to. Well, this time round, Ricciardo gets to the inside of Charles Leclerc. No DRS to defend himself, and looks like Daniel Ricciardo is going to comfortably work his way past Charles that time round as they head back down through turn 1. Guido is still just trying to hang on nearby. Obviously, Charles Leclerc won't get any DRS, so Ricciardo might be able to break away a bit more. But just trying to balance out, not using too much of the battery there, as Kimi not looking like he's able to apply some pressure to George Russell. It's definitely a Williams over an Alfa Romeo circuit here, and that could really fall into our hands. Oh, more yellow flags here in Mexico. Who's now got issues? It's one of the Red Bulls. I think that might be... Is that Sergio Perez? Homeboy Perez might be out of the Mexican Grand Prix there, and a devastating result for him and the team there. But so many issues and reliability problems for front runners this weekend. Of course, top teams pushing their engines so hard perhaps in these higher altitude circuits. And I think Perez, yeah, he's out of the Mexican Grand Prix there. Are we going to see another safety car? Doesn't appear so. Oh, I think Ricciardo's picked up some damage. He is really costing Charles Leclerc and I. As we head down in towards the final sector of the lap, Charles Leclerc's going to have a look at the inside. Oh, big lock up there from Charles. Tiny bit of contact between myself and Ricciardo, as we were desperate to try and follow the young Monegasque driver through. But Ricciardo's probably going to have to dive in at the end of this one. Stroll now a couple of seconds clear as well. It's all kicking off here in Mexico City still at the moment, as we might now be able to get a DRS pass on Charles Leclerc in this Grand Prix. We've overtaken Mercedes, we've overtaken McLarens. We've even ended up ahead of Red Bull here, and are we about to overtake a Ferrari to the outside of Charles? We're going towards turn 1. 207 miles an hour there on an easy move down around the outside. Can we get it all slowed down? Yes, we can. And this car this weekend is an absolute beast to drive. I said in free practice how we need to be careful and brake early, but so far it's delivering really well. Oh, Charles Leclerc coming back at us just one lap later though. Up the inside goes El Charles, but we will hook it up around the outside and we will defend. Definitely feel like we've built up so much confidence today that I'm willing to fight cars like this at the moment, because I don't think it's going to be long before Charles into the pits. As we got more yellow flags. Bottas with more issues. Has he binned it again as Valtteri? Let's have a look then. Is it going to be an engine failure, or is it? I think it's just Bottas's span again in this Grand Prix there. Where is the Merc? There he is, and yeah, look at that. Bottas's span again in the same fashion he did first time. And he's tried to come across me into the braking zone. What is that? From the fin. But this weekend was an easy 25-26 points he was going to be able to take out of his teammate Hamilton after his teammate fell to the wayside early on. But Bottas has looped it around twice by himself under very little pressure in this Grand Prix. Verstappen's into the pits at the end of lap 22 there. So Norris is going to be back up into the lead of the Grand Prix. But are we going to be able to get a run on Bottas? So George must obviously be going on to mediums for the end of the GP. Of course, has done a double soft stint early on. But are we now going to be able to get a run on Bottas out of turn 3 in towards turn 4 there? Are we going to be able to overtake both Mercedes in a single Grand Prix here? We get a nice run out of turn 3. But we just don't have the grunt this time round to get close enough. Oh, there we go. Bottas into the pits from P2. So we're actually going to lead here in Mexico. I've said it before in this series, it doesn't happen often, so we've got to savour it when it does. But yeah, we're going to get a good few laps led here. So we don't need to pit till lap 26.
25.1 seconds.
I mean, we went onto these tyres, what, like the end of lap 11? Where are they out of 36? I thought I read it's 26 there. I thought maybe there's a slim chance we could go to the end, but it's definitely not worth it at this stage. 9th fastest car in Formula 1 at the moment. Still somehow we're able to lead Grand Prix here. I almost said that and looped it round immediately.
Now. We're boxing this lap.
But yeah, Max Verstappen is about to take the lead off us in this Grand Prix. No idea what that was from Verstappen. But yeah, we are going to box in at the end of this one onto that set of softs to see us through to the checkered flag. Think we're going to lose out a few places, I'll be honest, as Bottas now new fastest lap of the day. But we should still come out around Pierre Gasly and our teammate. And again, we probably won't be much quicker than any of the guys in front, but if we get some DRS, so we want to be a bit of a threat to still try and get some good points here as well. But Russell and I today have both just kept it clean, and it has really fallen into our laps so far. But still, 10 laps to go here in Mexico, and we've seen it before. That can very quickly change. Right, round in the final corners though, into the pits. Let's just try and make sure we get it slowed down nice and tidily again. Oh, that was a bit more aggressive that time round into the pit lane, but still, where are we going to re-emerge then in this Grand Prix? Like I said, I reckon it'd be around Gasly, so we might still be able to hassle Ricciardo and potentially Sir Lancelot between now and the checkered flag. 2.5 second stop isn't too bad. We've got the car released nicely as well. We're heading back then out of the pit lane. Yeah, we're pretty much spot on. He's going to be right around Pierre Gasly in this GP. No, we do come out ahead of Pierre, who's on on the hard tyres even. So we should be able to stay ahead of him there. And even if Russell gets jumped by Carlos Sainz, I think it is, in the Ferrari just behind him, he should still be able to hang on to some points here as well, unless he gets some issues towards the end. Yeah, Ricciardo 2.3 ahead, Stroll another 2.3 ahead of him. I'll be able to get close enough before the end. We need to try and keep these tyres in good nick as well. Looks like at the moment, as we come on towards lap 29, that Ricciardo, Stroll and I are all slowly converging on each other. Gap now is just 1 second to Ricciardo in front. Don't know if he's about to get some DRS of Sir Lance, but Lance is really struggling at the moment here. We're trying to just balance out the battery use. Don't want to use too much of it now and then have none to fight them with. But again, obviously when Ricciardo gets some DRS, we really do drop back, as you can see, in towards turn 1 there. And again, we've got to try and keep the tyres nice and ready to fight right to the checkered flag. No doubt about it now, we're definitely within DRS range here to do something as we head through the final couple of corners. Are we going to be able to get a run on Ricciardo? Are we both going to be able to get a run on Lance? Is he just going to be a bit of a sitting duck? As we head back down towards turn 1 here, we'll claim the double slipstream. Well over 210 miles an hour. Stroll goes defensive, but we'll go to the inside of the Canadian in towards turn 1. Completely miss our braking point there, and apologies to Daniel Ricciardo. I tried to avoid him in the instance there, but unfortunately for Ricciardo, he did turn in a bit like we saw with Ricciardo and Bottas in the Rio Grand Prix there, but broke too early originally. Got back on the throttle and then got on the brakes way too late. We had to go full send there. I was, genuinely trying to avoid Daniel Ricciardo in that instance, try and get the car launched through the corner, but he did commit to the apex still.
The bodywork's taken a few scrapes. Try not to make it any worse.
Yeah, that was not my finest moment late on in the GP, but we didn't get a warning for a collision, I don't think. The FIA were weirdly okay with that one. We've definitely picked up a little bit of floor damage though, and we've got to be careful between now and the end. But yeah, massive apologies to Daniel Ricciardo there, but we were trying to just launch it through, like I said, and avoid the McLaren. That's twice now in the 2 Grand Prix between this and my team that I've done something late on in the race. Completely no intention that has screwed someone else, and we've come off not quite scot-free, but certainly better off than the opposition there. And yeah, really, just broke too early, as you spotted there. Saw Stroll go much later on the brakes, so we just tried to roll it into the corner there and realised we then committed back onto the slow pedal far too late. But 5 laps to go here in Mexico. We've got to try and get over the 1 second mark to Sir Lance and try and just bring this thing home for P5, which would be, I'm pretty certain, our best race of the year. Of course, got 6th at Russia, but we might have had a P5 earlier on in the season. No, we got P4 at Monza, didn't we? We've got a P4 and a P6. So this would nicely round it out. Right, to start the final lap then here in Mexico, and the tyres are definitely about to hit the cliff. Starting just to get a little bit more skeety.
Final lap of the race.
But yeah, final lap though here of the GP, and Stroll hasn't quite been able to get back in the DRS range there, so we have been able to just keep at arm's length. There you go, more messages from Jeff as we start the final lap of the day. But yeah, we've just been able to keep Sir Lancelot at arm's length late on here, but he's had a really solid day out as well. But for us, I have no idea how it's worked out the way it has. We ended up qualifying P16 even, ahead of the Alphas and the Haas. Sort of thought, maybe if we get a couple of cars with issues, we can try and hang on to a few of the guys just in front of us. But both myself and George, the race pace has been real in this car today. We're up in 5th place now. It looks like George Russell is going to come through for 8th, so it pretty much, is as good a result as we've had in the last 2 Grand Prix there. In fact, I think mathematically, this is going to equal the Russian Grand Prix there. I think we came 6th and 7th, I want to say, in that GP.
15.2 seconds.
I'm not sure how we've done it today, but Max Verstappen is going to come through to win the Mexican Grand Prix ahead of Lando Norris there. Bottas really should have capitalised more this weekend than he's been able to, but he does come through for P3. Charles Leclerc 4th, but round in the final corner, from 12th on the grid to 5th at the flag, it's more points for Williams.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
It's a performance to be proud of from our Mexico City Grand Prix winners. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, you've put me in a bit of a tight spot today, but I think I'll go for Pierre Gasly. He kept a cool head under pressure and made the most of some difficult circumstances.
The Constructors' Championship may be a foregone conclusion at the moment, but regardless, let's look at the standings. It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the Dutch Grand Prix, and it's the Dutch Grand Prix? The Mexican Grand Prix, even, sorry. The Dutchman, Max Verstappen, takes home the dub there when all is said and done ahead of Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas there. But 7 cars from 7 different teams inside your top 7. We were the first team to get both cars home at the end of the GP there. 5th place for us, 8th place for Georgia means we do equal the result that we got at the Russian Grand Prix. There are another 14 points on the board for the team. And with a 9th fastest car at the moment, I have no idea how we've managed that at the end of the day there. Charles Leclerc 4th though, Stroll 6th, Gasly, a really good job done by him, 18th to 7th there. Ricciardo gets a couple of points for McLaren, and Giovinazzi another point on the board for Haas. And yeah, we are now safely ahead with a bit of luck from Yuki Tsunoda there, another 10 points pulled out ahead of him. Mick Schumacher almost scored points for Haas there, was just a second behind Antonio Giovinazzi at the end of the race there. Just Raikkonen, Mazepin and Ocon went a lap down there. It was just Alpine and Haas that didn't score this weekend, with just Perez and Lewis not making it to the checkered flag there. But it means championship-wise, the gap at the top down to just 38 points. So Hamilton will need to outscore Bottas by 14 next weekend if he wants to wrap up the title in Brazil there. Stroll jumps his teammate Sebastian Vettel though back up inside the top 10. Like I said, we pull away from Yuki Tsunoda there, and I mean, if we get another good result like that, we could be challenging Ocon and Fernando Alonso between now and the end of the campaign there. Giovinazzi, yeah, with more points on the board for Alfa Romeo. Just Kimi and the Haas cars yet to score. Kimi and the Haas cars sounds like the name of a really bad indie band as well. But Mercedes, yeah, 622 points, still miles ahead of Red Bull. Constructors was wrapped up long ago at Suzuka there. AlphaTauri jump Alpine, just 3 points between them. That is still going to be a battle to watch out for between now and the end of the year. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we'll be back next time round, ready for round 18. We head to Interlagos, maybe another track that'll suit the car. You guys will have to wait around and let's find out. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel supporters. So a massive thank you to The Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David, Ben, Aidan, Estacios, Cato, Sean, Johnny, McBlam, Mighty Spork, Tazief, William and Nanon for becoming channel members. If you want to be featured at the end of all these videos, make sure you just click the join button down below.